we're now standing on the Migovec plateau, which is located in northwestern Slovenia, in the Triglav National Park. Triglav National Park is the only national park in Slovenia, but it's a very big one. It's also got Triglav, which is the highest mountain in Slovenia. It appears on their coat of arms, on the flag. And it's mostly made of limestone rock, such as the one I'm sitting on right now, that as cavers we know are signs that there are cave systems under the mountain.
So we've got a potential lower entrance to the system, which is a few hundred metres lower than the plateau. You access it by walking down to Cow and then down a few more zigzags, walking along towards Razor, and then in a big canyon that comes down from the face of Mig. If you climb up it a little bit, you find a small hole with a strong draft. It was discovered in 2015 and dug quite extensively by some older members of the expedition, but it didn't make a breakthrough, and it was left in 2016 and 2017 when we had some quite exciting leads in Prima Donna that kept us busy. But this year, with the pushing front quite far away now in Prima Donna, we decided to have another look at it.
Good. He reckons you can see 2 meters above into the ceiling.
Oh wow.
We might be about to break through into something, who knows what.
That's pretty.
The draft is obscene at the moment. I haven't felt it this strong yet. So, exciting!
Oh. And then you emerge to a beautiful day on the mountain.
We're just poking the rocks to discover the passage goes on, and we poked some big boulders from the ceiling, and we can see that human can fit through. We need to do a bit more digging to make it safe for someone to continue, and we can see if it connects to another cave.
We've just broken through a small floor of a chamber at the end of the dig. So there's like a 2 meter mudslide, and you push your way up it, and now there's a chamber about this sort of wide, goes up for 2-3 meters above us. You can see further.
Oh, what a cave! So we've broken into a little chamber at the top of a mud and choss slope. And it doesn't get much bigger beyond, but you can see down this tube, it opens out, the draft comes roaring through, and the only thing that stands in our way is more mud and choss, which we're very good at digging, as you can see. We indeed made a breakthrough into a small chamber. I feel like most of the work was done in 2015. We only had to dig like a few more meters to break through into this chamber, and then from there it was basically just digging out another little crawl.
So the squeeze was initially very tight for a human, but Jack mainly threw a lot of mud down, so now it's more human-sized, and we can squeeze through it, slide down on the side, and that leads to a long chamber which is tall, more than 5 meters tall.
It's a rock-floored rift. It's got real cave formation on the side. It's been carved by water. It's about 5, maybe 10 meters high. The floor is choked with boulders. There's lots of boulders hanging up above, but the way on appears to be the draft in the floor, though the draft may also go other ways higher in the rift, which we couldn't get to.
Dropped a few rocks down and they fell a long way, like it's a pretty big pitch if you can get through. That said, going to need a bit more machinery, feathers and wedges and the like, to actually make any progress, we think. Although also the rock didn't look too bad. That was an interesting aspect. Found a few places where one could put a bolt.
From there we could see we were in a big rift, and we were just on a false boulder floor. So this chamber we broke into yesterday, and then this was like full of mud down here, and dug it out and put all the rocks up here. And now it's an incredibly windy little like climb down. It used to be more of a squeeze, but Ben's been digging it furious.
Am I out yet? Almost there, Harry. Really well.
We spent basically an entire day hauling these two huge boulders out of the floor using a pulley system. And then below we accessed a tight, sharp rift. Descending this, on the next day we found we were in, well, just more rift really.
Oh, actually it does open up immediately on like the side you're on.
Oh, that's a lot of rocks there.
Above you?
No, to the side of me.
That is the rope going up to where all of our friends are. And that is where Reese is heading next. Where the hell does it go? That wasn't deliberate, but you can hear that rock going down a long way. That's where Reese is off.
I'm hoping at some point we'll find the floor of this rift and we can sort of walk along it to hopefully something that's not a rift, because the rift is scary and full of rocks. So you may have seen us halfway up a rift. Now we're somewhere near the bottom of a rift. A series of quite tight descents through the rift, placing rebelays wherever there was rub or where I got scared, and kicking huge volumes of rock down, which would then just pool on the next ledge, and I'd have to kick them all down onto the next ledge, and so on. But now we're sort of at the bottom. Looks like quite a nice, wide in comparison to what we've been in, rift. I think that's the floor, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so potentially that is the bottom for now.
Yeah.
And what have you decided to name this place?
We reckon it's going to be Hell's Teeth. Well, it's got lots of sharp bits of rock, and it's a saying of one of our favourite NPC cavers. And still trying to follow the draft, we got to the bottom of the rift, which was about 20 or 30 metres down, and the cave just closed up in every direction.
We got to this, which is where the draft's coming from, but it's really, really narrow, so we're not going to go through there today. Maybe with some tools.
So we're having a go down in that direction. So right at the bottom, the water, what little water there was, disappeared down a tiny crack, and if you followed the draft, you eventually got to another sort of hole in the wall about this wide, and there was no way on.
Went up this muddy ledge, and at the top of this muddy ledge we found a narrow rift with a strong howling draft coming out of it, just like the entrance to Coincidence Cave. We dug at it for a little bit, but we realised it would take a lot more work to go any further. We went back down and we tried another way on below, and we found a little bit more passage with a little bit of draft, but it got too narrow, and here there was lots of rock blocking our way, the actual walls of the cave. So it's very unlikely you're going to be able to dig your way through those.
So we went down about halfway down the rift, where we could see across from us was sort of a hole in amongst all the boulders and scree and things. So I wiggled across to it, put a bolt in for a traverse line, wiggled across again into this tight space. It was obviously blocked on the one side, but there was a little drop beneath me. Another bolt, and I dangled down into the drop and found nothing more than a small pile of animal shit and no way on. So, and then we surveyed out. So we think we need some persuasion for the cave to open, but for us it's a no-goer for now.